Come on.
Good evening, this is Chuck W3ON. I'm operating as W3OC net control for the Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club net. This radio net meets every Monday night here at 8 p.m. on the 146.73 MHz WOA3 PVD repeater, the Gateway FM Association. Membership in the Two Rivers ARC is not required to check into this net. That's all radio amateurs are welcome. If you'd like information about the Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club, please write to us at P.O. Box 225, Greenville, PA, zip code 15047. Write to us at P.O. Box 225, Greenville, PA, zip code 15047. We're also on the internet, the World Wide Web at www.trarc.net, www.trarc.net. Radio club meetings are held on the third Tuesday every month except allowed in December, starting at 7 p.m. Lately, we've been having the meetings at the Da Vinci Pizzeria, 1515 Washington Boulevard in Portview, Pennsylvania, suburbs of McKeesport. For evidence that for check-ins, there's emergency or priority traffic at this time. Okay, does anyone have listings of silent keys? I have two of them just occurred. Anyone have any listings of silent key that they'd like to announce? W3OC. Okay. These two were announced. Just recently passed away. On October 8th, Donald G. Link, November 3 Bravo Mexico Tango, of Knoxville, Pennsylvania, passed away. That's Donald G. Link, November 3 Bravo Mexico Tango. And on October the 11th, Michael J. Mahara, MK3C, November 2 to 3 Charlie, a member of the Two Rivers Club, passed away on Sunday, October the 11th. We're going to take a moment to stand by in remembrance of these two who recently passed away. Raise your hands. W3OC. W3OC net control for the Two Rivers ARC net. Okay, now I'll start taking some check-ins. When you check into the net, give your call sign slowly and phonetically. I mean, spell out your call sign. Let me know if you have any announcements or comments for the net. Okay, at this time I'm looking for the officers of the Two Rivers ARC wishing to check into the Two Rivers net.
W3OC. W3OC, please recognize Kilo Bravo 3 Sugar Tango. Bob and Elizabeth Township. Good evening, Chuck. Evening to the net. No traffic. W3OC. W3OC, please recognize Whiskey India 3 Romeo. Roger in White Oak. Good evening to all on this. Good evening, Chuck. No further comment. W3OC. Please recognize November 3 Golf Hotel Tango, Bill, Jefferson Hills, along with Dell, W3DTP.
W3OC. Please copy. Kilo Bravo 3, Uniform Whiskey Charlie. Stephen, Boston. Good evening, Chuck, and everyone else on the net. No other comments.
W3OC. Please recognize recognize November 3, Juliet, Hotel Bravo, Jim and McKeesport. Good evening to everyone on the net. No traffic.
Thank you. I got Kilo Bravo 3 Sugar Tango, Whiskey India 3 Radio, November 3 Golf Hotel Tango, the Whiskey 3 Delta Tango Papa, Kilo Bravo 3 Uniform Whiskey Charlie, and November 3 Juliet Hotel Bravo. Are there any other members of the Tubers ARC Board of Directors wishing to check into the net?
W3OC. W3OC, please copy Whiskey 3 Sierra Hotel Foxtrot. This is Steve here in Pitcairn Heights. Good evening, Chuck, and everyone on the net.
Okay, got the Whiskey 3 Sierra Hotel Foxtrot. Any other members of the Board of Directors wishing to check in? Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you guys for checking in tonight. Okay, now I'm looking for stations operating mobile, portable, or outside of Allegheny County.
W3OC. W3OC, here's Kilo Bravo 3 Victor Sierra Papa. Dan out here in Beaver County. Good evening, Chuck. Good evening to the net. W3OC, WA3PBD, name there is Andy on the portable in West Mifflin. W3OC, this is Kilo Alpha 3, Kilo Sierra Papa, Jim Portable in Carnegie. W3OC, OC, please recognize Alpha 3 Oscar Zulu, John and Lido. Good evening to you, net control, and good evening to Net and Joe. No comment. W3OC. This is Whiskey, Uniform 3, Uniform Mobile, Kurt and Elizabeth, no traffic. W3OC. This is Kilo Charlie 3, India, Romeo, Foxtrot Mobile, Bob and Overbrook. Good evening, everybody. W3OC.
Are these no check-ins?
Whiskey, Alpha 3, Bravo, Oscar, Juliet. 10 Squirrel Hill, good evening to you, Chuck. Good evening to the net, no traffic. W3OC. This is Kilo Bravo 3, Lima November Charlie, Lenny here in a mobile. Good evening, everybody, no traffic. W3.
Okay, I got a bunch in there at one time. I got Kilo Bravo 3 Victor Sierra Papa, Whiskey America 3 Papa Bravo Delta Portable, Kilo Alpha 3 Kilo Sugar Portable, Alpha 3 Oscar Zulu Portable, Whiskey Alpha 3 Mobile, Charlie 3 India Radio Foxtrot, Whiskey America 3 Bravo Oscar UPS Portable, Kilo Bravo 3 Lima and November Charlie Mobile. And somebody said they were in Elizabeth, and that's all I got. Very weak. Try again.
Well, just move on with this.
Okay, the station that says they're on portable, you're breaking up. I'm not getting much of what you're saying. If you're using an HT, try moving to a different location. Try again.
Okay. So just please, because I want to get my check-in in for tonight.
8:10 p.m.
Alright. Sorry guys for the little delay here.
Okay. One last call for mobile. Mobile portables are outside of Allegheny County.
Whiskey 30 Charlie, this is Kilo Charlie 3, MIP, Liberty Borough, Sean.
W3OC. Whiskey Alpha 3, Alpha Hotel Charlie, Antonio from Pittsburgh. Good evening to those on the net, and good evening to you, Chuck. No further comments. Alright. They got me. Great.
This is KATV, Denver, Mobile, Murraysville. Good evening.
Okay, that time I got Kilo Charlie 3 Mexico India Papa. Whiskey America. excuse me, Whiskey America 3 Alpha Hotel Charlie Portable, Kilo Alpha 3 Kilo Echo Victor Mobile. Okay, anyone else mobile portable or outside of Allegheny County? And there, all right, now we'll open up for base stations. Anybody else I haven't checked in like to do so, call on.
W3OC. This is November 3, Papa Sioux uniform. Checking the southwest. Hello, checking everyone on the net. W3OC. WA3TFS, Jim and Brentwood. No traffic. W3OC. W3OC, please copy. Kilo, Charlie, 3, India, Romeo, Golf. This is Ed McKeesport. Good evening, Chuck, and everyone on that. No comments. W3OC. W3OC, Kilo Bravo 3, Yankee India, November, Rich McKeesport. No further comments. W3OC. Here's Kilo 3 Hotel, India Romeo. We're on Elizabeth Township. Good evening, Chuck. Good evening to the net. No comment. W3OC. Here is Bob. W3 Sierra, Yankee Radio. In Wayo. Good evening, Chuck, and good evening all on the net. W3OC. W3OC, please recognize Kilo Charlie 3, November Foxtrot, Mike at Scott Township. Good evening to Chuck and everyone on the net. No comment, no traffic. W3OC. Please copy Kilo Bravo 3, Kilo Bravo Hotel. Craig and Castle Shannon. Good evening, Chuck. Good evening, Lynette. I have no traffic.
Okay, all right, take a standby here for a moment. I got November 3 Papa Sierra uniform, Whiskey America 3 Tango Plug Sugar, Kilo Charlie 3 India Radio Golf, Kilo Bravo 3 Yankee to November, Kilo 3 Hotel India Radio, Whiskey 3 Sierra Yankee Radio, Kilo Charlie 3 November Fox, and Kilo Bravo 3 Kilo Bravo Hotel. Anybody else?
W3OC. Here's Kilo Alpha 3, Zulu Japan Whiskey, Dave and Plum. Good evening, Chuck. No comments.
Okay, got Kilo Alpha 3 Zulu Japan Whiskey. Alrighty, thank you. We'll stop there. Thank you all. Thanks for taking the time to check in with us this evening. We'll try to get into some of the stuff that's going on. As far as Two Rivers activities, we have our radio club meeting tomorrow night at 7 p.m. At the Da Vinci Pizzeria. That's located at 1515 Washington Boulevard in Portview, Pennsylvania. It's also the suburbs of McKeesport. So you get a chance to stop out there for that. Meeting starts promptly at 7 o'clock. Two Rivers ARC, we started up our Hampton X Breakfast several months ago. That's held on the second Saturday of every month at Dye's Cornerstone Diner, 620 Long Run Road in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. The actual location is the entrance to the Lippy Shopping Center from PA Route 48 in McKeesport. Okay, that's kind of what we got locally. Of course, the KDKA activity will be starting up. KDKA 100th anniversary thing will be starting up soon. I haven't had a major update on that recently, other than it was announced last week. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like about 3 or 4, or maybe 4 or 5 of the radio clubs in the area will be operating at various times during the month of November. During the whole month of November is a celebration of that. I think the calls are Kilo 3 Alpha, Kilo 3 Bravo, Kilo 3 Delta, and I can't think what the other one, and Whiskey 8 with X-Ray Kilo are the special event call signs for that. There is an article, there's a mention of it in the November issue of QSC magazine that gives more information on that. As far I know, the actual operating schedules for the various clubs haven't been announced, at least not yet. Hopefully that we'll have more on that. Some of the radio clubs in the area, of course, have been having meetings and things like that using the Zoom Internet conferencing system. There was one last week that I was fortunate enough to attend. Thank you to North for inviting me to attend to that. They had a presentation on their Zoom meeting, I think it was last Wednesday, with a Chris Hudak, who works for KDK Radio, give a talk on the radio antennas, past and present, and things like that. Very interesting presentation. Okay, let's see. On the national scene, let's see. Bulletin came out this week from the ARL ARL Atlantic Division Director. It has to do with the protest for the imposition of fees for amateur radio licensing. I think this fellow's name is Tom, W3TOM is the Atlantic Division Director. I'll try to give you the first couple paragraphs. It's fairly lengthy. If you remember the ARL and you have email activity, you would have seen this. It's on their, it's not on their website yet, I don't think. It says, greeting fellow ARL Atlantic Division members, time to protest the imposition of fees for amateur radio licensing. Many Atlantic Division members have contacted me in the past month about the FCC's proposal for a $50 application fee for license applications in the amateur radio service. The notice of proposed rulemaking, NPRM, was published in the Federal Register. The deadline for comment is November 16th, and the reply comment deadline is November 30th. With this, I extend the following suggestions you might consider using in writing to the FCC in response to the NPRM. Our thanks to David Siddell, Kilo 3 Zulu Japan Aerial Council for these suggestions, for these guidelines, I should say. Be sure to carefully review the paragraphs. It says this subject is critical. The timing is critical. I urge you to contact FCC now. Addresses and relegated information contained in the articles and reference in the Federal Register. Please use your own objections. Oh boy. And it goes on and on. There's about 6 paragraphs. I'm not going to read all of that. Anybody wants that, if you haven't got it, I can send it to you by email as a forward email attachment if you'd like to see it. It's fairly lengthy. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for doing this. I just saw that on Facebook here, too, one day last week from, I think, the Central Division. They were sending out basically the same information to their members. Okay, that's about the ARL suggested protest. On the ARL's website, there's an announcement the FCC has moved to a new address, 45 L Street, Northeast Washington, D.C., 20554. That's an immediate move for them. Upcoming contest, CQ Worldwide DX Contest, single sideband modes coming up this weekend, October the 24th and 25th on the HF band. That's probably the most active contest I would think that there is pretty much each year. There's two different dates. This one's coming up on the weekend, that's 24th and 25th at sideband, and the CW is on November 28th and 29th. Anybody wants to look at the rules or see about that, go to www.cqww.com. www.cqww.com. Okay, trying to see if I got anything else I can pass out to you. I don't see anything else. I should say something about our fellow club member Mike Mahara, NK3C, who just recently passed away on October the 11th. Mike was a long-time member of the Two Rivers Club and a ham radio operator from around here from probably the mid-1980s. Very, very nice man. He was originally from the Keysport, Ritzy Borough area. Remember the Two Rivers Club as long as I can remember it, from probably back in the early 80s. The last year, he's been ill and been having some medical issues. He was at the Veterans Administration, one of the Veterans Administration facilities here in the area. Funeral was they had viewing last Thursday. Funeral was on Friday. Just sorry to hear that. I really missed Mike. Many of us knew him quite well. He's always at the Hamfest. Just about everyone you could think of in the area. So hope many of you had fond remembrances of Mike and Kate Tracy. Okay. Okay, that's kind of what I got. Anybody need to repeat anything they've heard before we switch over to Newsline? Okay. Well, I did see where there's been an air rumbles and did come out this week. It shows that the solar the sunspots has been picking up a little bit, and we're starting to see a little bit of enhanced propagation. I think they said there was several sunspot groups, small ones, that appeared, I think, in the last week or so. So you might, on the HF bands, might check those bands out and see what you hear. Of course, we're into the seasonal time of the year too, when we do get seasonal propagation, enhanced seasonal propagation due to the earth tilting and all that good stuff. So on the HF band. Okay. With that, let me switch over and see what's on Newsline tonight. W3OC.
Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2242 with a release date of Friday, October 16th, 2020, to follow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The following is a QST. NASA astronaut Kate Rubins is back on the ISS. A ham in the Netherlands pays tribute to the guitarist Eddie Van Halen, and license exams are suspended in Belgium. All this and more as Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2242 comes your way right now.
From around the world, this is Newsline, Amateur Radio's independent, on-the-air news and bulletin service. And now reporting from Valparaiso, Indiana, here's Paul Brown, WD9GCO.
We begin this week by saying welcome back to the ISS for NASA astronaut Kate Rubins, KG-5FYJ, who joined 2 Russian cosmonauts on the launch pad in southern Kazakhstan Wednesday, October 14th, bound for the International Space Station. Kate and her fellow travelers will spend 6 months aboard the ISS. Their stay in space will coincide with the 20th anniversary of a continuous human presence on the ISS, an occasion being marked on the 1st of November. Something else went up into the sky recently. They looked a little like party balloons, but they weren't. It was a nationwide mid-altitude ham radio balloon launch, and it was festive, even if it wasn't a big party. Jack Parker, W8ISH, explains.
Fans of amateur radio balloons are reliving the moments of the October 9th launch of 11 mid-altitude balloons as they floated up and began their journey from various launch sites across the United States. As they headed east to begin their 2-week trip around the globe, the event was live-streamed on Facebook by the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum. Each helium-filled Mylar balloon is equipped with APRS on both 144.39 MHz and 144.34 MHz and traveling at about 20,000 feet above the Earth. Students, teachers, and other balloon fans are tracking the balloons via amateur radio and looking online for updates on their locations by visiting APRSdirect.com. The balloons were launched by students and their teachers in Washington, D.C., Alaska, Virginia, Oklahoma, Utah, Minnesota, and Kansas. If you'd like to follow along and track them, you can find their call signs on the link provided by this week's printed script of this newscast on arnewsline.org. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jack Parker, W8ISH.
The man arrested in Denver, Colorado in connection with the fatal shooting of a Navy veteran on Saturday, October 10th, during 2 opposing political rallies downtown is an amateur radio operator. The arrested man was identified in news reports as Matthew Dolph, KE0 and KL, who is said to have been working without a license as a Pinkerton security guard for a local TV station. The 30-year-old man is suspected of killing Lee John Keltner, a military veteran attending the protest. Witnesses said that the two men were arguing when Keltner used a pepper spray on Dolph. Keltner was then fatally shot. The incident was captured on video by CBS Denver Channel 4 and on cell phone video, and the scene has been widely viewed on the internet. Rock legend Eddie Van Halen, who died earlier this month, was the pride of the Netherlands, where the guitarist was born 65 years ago. Now, as his distinctive sounds resonate for his fans listening to commercial stations around the world, one additional station joins them on the amateur radio frequencies, paying tribute. Special event station PA 5150 EVH will be on the air from October 28th until January 31st, 2021, a few days past the musician's birthday on January 26th. The special event is being activated by Frank, PF1SCT, a civil engineer who is also a guitarist himself and, needless to say, a Van Halen fan. A limited number of QSL cards are available for contacts, and those making successful contacts should QSL to Frank's call sign by the Bureau only. Elsewhere in the sky and a bit higher up, there are plans for hams to be part of a satellite mission that began as a project in Hawaii. Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG, explains.
The Hawaii Spaceflight Laboratory has plans to collaborate with amateur radio operators to communicate with its Neutron 1 satellite to send and receive messages after the satellite is released in November from the International Space Station. Neutron 1 is carrying an FM repeater with a downlink on 435.300 MHz and an uplink on 145.84 MHz. It is expected to be in space for about 1 year. The satellite will be controlled through a ground station at a local community college. The Spaceflight Lab will control the Neutron 1 via the Global Star Network. The Neutron 1 was launched aboard an NG-14 rocket from Virginia on Friday, October 2nd, as part of a resupply mission to the ISS. It is a project involving students, volunteers, faculty, and staff at the University of Hawaii. Its mission is to measure neutrons in space and radiation coming from the sun. The satellite is the Spaceflight Lab's second completed spacecraft. In 2016, the failure of a suborbital rocket after launch caused the loss of the first iteration of the Neutron 1 payload. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG.
School is in session for the New England Aries Academy in the U.S., but not the way it was originally planned. Heather MB, KB3TZD, explains.
The Northeast Ham Exposition /ARRL New England Division Convention was supposed to be hosting classes for the first New England Aries Academy, but the current pandemic called everything off. Well, almost everything. Academy classes have still been going forward, but now they are virtual. The coursework is being offered instead on the Zoom platform. The courses accommodate beginners with 5 basic track classes and work with more advanced amateurs in additional sessions and workshops. 1-hour classes are being held on weeknights and 2-hour workshops take place on Saturday morning. The courses provide additional guidance in the ARRL's Aries training standards. The newly created New England Aries Academy grew out of the successful New Hampshire Aries Academy program, which held classes for 8 years at the New Hampshire State Fire Academy. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Heather MB, KB3TZD.
Not everything can be done remotely. However, amateur radio candidates in Belgium may have to wait a little bit longer to take their tests. Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, has the details.
Well, many organizations around the world have gone online to administer amateur radio exams safely. For candidates during the COVID-19 pandemic, Belgium has announced all testing must be halted. Communications regulator BIPT said its decision was made out of concern for the health and safety of BIPT staff and licensed candidates. As a result, testing has been suspended temporarily. Belgium's National Amateur Radio Society said that the BIPT will contact the interested parties when examinations can return to normal. Candidates who have already registered and paid for the test will be able to cost and will receive priority for testing. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jeremy Booth, G4NJH.
If you're interested in history, you may want to tune into 17.2 kilohertz a little bit later this month. There's a special international message headed your way from Sweden. Ed Durant, DD5LP, picks up the story from here.
If you are capable of receiving 17.2 kilohertz and you know CW, there's a message waiting for you on October 24. It's being transmitted from the Alex Anderson Alternator SAQ in Grimmersson, Sweden, and it's been sent in honor of United Nations Day. UN Day marks the creation in 1945 of this international body to promote world peace. The very low frequency transmitter is far older than the UN. It was built starting in 1922 and is the last surviving example of Anderson alternator technology that works. The transmitted message will begin at 1500 UTC. QSL reports can be made online using a form that will be open from October 24th until November 6th. Meanwhile, if you'd rather make a contact on the HF band, listen for amateur radio station SK6SAQ, which will be on the air sending CW on 7035 kHz and 14035 kHz. Of course, if you don't know CW, you can make contact on SSB on 3755 kHz. QSLs can be sent via email to info@alexander.n.se via the Bureau or by mail to the address on their QRZ page. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Ed Durant, DD5LP.
Time for you to identify your station. We are the Amateur Radio Newsline, heard on bulletin stations around the world, including the WR6 AAC repeater in Lake Forest, California, Tuesdays at 6:45 p.m. local time.
W306.
A successful public health initiative is something to celebrate, especially now, and hams in Australia are doing just that. Here's Graham Kemp, VK4BB, with the details.
In Australia, amateur radio operators are marking an accomplishment that takes on special meaning in these pandemic times: the eradication of the polio virus throughout Africa. The World Health Organization declared Africa's 25 nations, states and territories to be polio-free as of August 25. Mick Moyle, director of the Wireless Institute of Australia, said the activation will begin on the 24th of October, marking World Polio Day. The special event station, VK65PFA, will continue until the 24th of November. VK65PFA believes this takes on special significance because he is also a member of Rotary International, which has given high priority to the campaign to wipe out polio. Rotary members who are also radio operators are also invited to join Raw Rotarians of Amateur Radio. Meanwhile, visit the QRZ page of VK65PFA for operating and QSL details. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Graham Kemp, past president of Brisbane Smith City Rotary Club and VK4BB.
Australia is also making some notable changes in its amateur radio syllabus. Robert Broomhead, VK3DN, shares that report.
As part of its latest update to the amateur radio syllabus, the Australian Communications and Media Authority is now giving amateurs the ability to transfer their call sign to another licensee simply by completing a call sign transfer form online. This permission is granted to any amateur of any license class who holds a 3-letter call sign. The change is expected to give hams more options and flexibility in managing call signs and will clearly be useful within families where more than one member is a ham. The application form needs the signature of both parties, however, before it goes to the ACMA. The syllabus changes also remove some of the historical restrictions on a foundation licensee from the radio communications license conditions. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Robert Broomhead, VK3DN.
In our occasional series, Nets of Note, we look at how and where on the bands amateur radio operators are checking in and what they're saying. This week, Kevin Trotman, N5PRE, gives us a look at the Advanced Class Preservation Group, NETS.
Hams like Paul Busher, N8HHG, and Scott Inslee, W5URX, take pride in being among the 39,000 radio amateurs who hold an advanced class license issued by the Federal Communications Commission. The FCC stopped granting these licenses a decade ago, but advanced class holders can renew their license indefinitely, and many do, celebrating their place in U.S. amateur radio history. Lately, they've even begun meeting up on the air in a formal setting known as the Advanced Class Preservation Group, NET. There are already more than 100 members. There's plenty of history to celebrate. Advanced is the only remaining license class where holders passed the 13-word per minute code test, and the majority of those licensed before 1984 were tested at the FCC office instead of by a volunteer examiner. According to Bart Pulverman, WB6WUW, Paul and Scott started the nets 2 months ago on weekday evenings, providing a place for advanced class members to check in. Membership is free to advanced class members only, but extra class members are also invited to participate. To make things even more official, holders of a valid advanced class license receive a free personalized certificate that is suitable for framing. For details on the membership and the certificate, send an email to n8hhg@aol.com. Then get on the air and join the nets. They meet on Mondays through Fridays at 1700 UTC on 14.213 megahertz, plus or minus. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2200 UTC on 14.213 megahertz, plus or minus. And Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2300 UTC on 7.130 megahertz, plus or minus. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Kevin Trotman, N5PRE.
In the world of DX, listen for Don, K6ZO, who is active as 7Q6M, from a mission hospital at the Loudon Station in Malawi through the middle of December. He will be using single sideband and CW at various times, usually on 20, 40, and 80 meters, and possibly 160. At his residence, he will operate FT8. You can also listen for him during the CQ Worldwide DX Single Sideband Contest on October 24th and 25th, and the CQ Worldwide DX CW Contest on November 28th and 29th. Send QSLs to K6ZO. In the Bahamas, Richard, KN4CV, will be using the call sign KN4CV/C6A from Alistown, Bimini Islands. Listen on the various HF bands. Send QSLs via his home call sign. Thomas, DL2RMC, is on the air as 9G5FI from Accra, Ghana, where he is likely to be through the next year. Listen on various HF bands where he will be using CW, FT8, and operating through the QO100 satellite. Send QSLs via DL1
Low voltage
by the Bureau, EQSL, Club Log, and soon Logbook of the World. In Guadalupe, Philippe F1DUZ is using his call sign FG4KH from October 16th through November 5th. Listen for him on the various HF bands using single sideband and FT8. He will also be in the CQ Worldwide DX Single Sideband Contest. Send QSLs via his home call sign, direct, by the Bureau, EQSL, or Logbook of the World. Finally, you know you've come of age as a club when you've elmered new hams, made new radio friends, and even activated your first special event station while cooking lunch. Here's Skeeter Nash and by
Low voltage
dish out the savory details.
It's been a little more than a year, but the Bledsoe County Amateur Radio Club has come of age and already celebrated some milestones. Formed in July of 2019 to promote amateur radio in that Tennessee county, the club was granted the call sign N4BCT this past summer. It also celebrated the return to radio of one member, a formerly licensed ham who is 93 years old. When that ham, Brian Knight, KO4FHG, upgraded this
low voltage
amateur extra license, the club celebrated that milestone too. Now the club is cooking up its first special event station, and the emphasis is on the cooking, since the season has brought chilly weather to Tennessee. That also means chili weather, as in homemade chili,
low voltage
simmering often spicy stew. The Bledsoe County Amateur Radio Club's chili cook-off includes the not-so-secret ingredient of a special event station with the call sign W4C in on.
low voltage
According to Andrew Albertson, KN4CTG, club treasurer and trustee, W4C will be on the air from October 23rd to the 25th.
low voltage
Off itself, October 24th, a special certificate will be available or the KF4J
Low voltage.
radio and the smell of chili will both be in the air. Sounds like a recipe for success. For amateur radio,
Low voltage.
Peter Nash, N5ASH.
With thanks to Amateur News Weekly, AMSAT, Andrew Albertson, KN4CTG,
Low voltage.
Mark Pulverman, WB6WUW, CQ Magazine, CNN, David Behar, K7TV, the FCC,
Low voltage.
QRZ.com, Radio Society of Great Britain, shortwaveradio.de, the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, Southeastern
Low voltage.
Radio Association, Southgate Amateur Radio News, Ted Randall's QSO Radio Show, WTWW Shortwave, and you, our listeners,
Low voltage.
from the Amateur Radio Newsline. Please send emails to our address at newsline@arnewsline.org. More information is available at Amateur Radio
Low voltage.
official website at arnewsline.org. For now, with Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team,
Low voltage.
I'm Paul Brown, WD9GCO in Valparaiso, Indiana, saying 73. And as always, we thank you for listening.
Low voltage.
This Radio Newsline is copyright 2020. All rights reserved.
Low voltage.
Good evening. 8:43 p.m.
Low voltage.
15, that controls the Two Rivers Net. That concludes this week's Newsline transmission. Okay.
Low voltage.
For anything, we'll take some late check-ins here. I would like to remind Two Rivers members, please don't forget the radio club meeting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock
Low voltage.
up at Da Vinci's Pizzeria at 1515 Washington Boulevard up there at Portview. Hopefully we'll see many of you up there.
Low voltage.
Okay, at this time we'll let you take some late check-ins. Everyone else likes to check in, that's so calm.
Low voltage. Low voltage.
Okay, none heard. Alrighty. Okay, well, I count 28 check-ins. Thank you all for taking the time to check in with us this evening.
Low voltage.
You folks next week. This weekend on the Asian Pass. Should be a lot of good DX on there. 24 hours. No, it's 2 days, 48 hours. So get a chance to check in for that. And don't forget, those of you Bree Shooters members or anybody interested, the Bree Shooters that starts at 9 o'clock up on 28.480 megahertz on a 10-meter band. That's a local net. Okay, with that, we're going to repeat it back to Johnny. This is W3OC, also known as W301. Good night.
Alright guys, well that's it for tonight, and 73rds. Peace.